holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is achieveradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
Hi, I'm Anne Marie, and you are listening to Achieve Spiritual, Holistic, and Self-Improvement Radio. And today, I am going to use my giant Lover's deck. I would say these cards are almost a foot big, a foot long, and they are awesome. A client went on a religious sabbatical, and her family convinced her to give all her cards away. So I benefited from that moment. And so today we are going to talk about numerology. We're going to talk about how you can tell the seasons and time frames with your cards. Mr. Bill, I'm not seeing any picture of me today. I don't know if I'm in the video form, but I'm not seeing it. I would say that if you, there you go, want to have an amazing, joyful, and magical reading, get your life together, give some focus on your fog, and be able to just most of all be able to give you the satisfaction of having a little clarity in your life. That's a delightful frozen picture of me on Skype. Please know I don't usually look like that, but for whatever reason, I'm freezing. I do want to say that and I hope we can get that changed, because I do want to show you the cards today and how we can use them when we do your reading. Some of you that may be learning how to use tarot cards, when you look at 78 cards, if you're using the traditional deck, you may find that sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming. But once you have learned how to, just like flashcards in your old school days when you were learning the multiplication tables or whatever people do now in their school to learn math or fractions, that as you start to find yourself memorizing and learning how to pay your bills and how to do things, reading tarot cards is really no different. It's just about learning the, first of all, 0 to 9 numerology numbers. And also, as you start to focus in on the suits of your cards, how to be able to use your cards to, most people will ask you, well, that's great. About what time frame is that going to happen? And so by knowing your suits and what seasons that they represent, in addition to being able to use the number on the top of your traditional Rider-Waite deck, hello, Patrick, you will be able to, most of all, be able to give them that time frame. Now, you always let your clients know that time frames are approximate. You know, time is elastic, as Einstein said the past, the present, and the future could be happening simultaneously at the same time. And at the very minute that something phenomenal has happened to your life, um, who knows? We we are all experiencing it at that time, because I truly believe, even as we read tarot or give a reading channeling loved ones from the other side, or being able to give spiritual guidance, that the main thing that you're doing is helping people to connect with their divine creative essence, which is your soul energy. Hello, Lisa, or Lena. Hello, we have Lena and we have Patrick. I also feel that when you can help people to find what that is in their life that may be calling to them, when you're reading tarot cards and just as connecting with your creative divine essence within, learning to quiet that analytical voice and learning, because have you ever noticed that your best ideas always seem to happen when you are in the shower, or you're just not even focusing on a question about your life at all, and then boom, there's the answer, like out of the universe coming towards you. It's almost as if your angels were waiting for that moment when you were going to stop trying to control the show and demands of them. And it's like a parent with a child, or an owner of a dog. Stop demanding and I'll give you a treat. And that's your guides and angels too. Stop demanding answers from me and I will give you the answer. The same thing goes when you're reading tarot cards. See these huge, humongous cards. When you're reading tarot, it's very easy to become overwhelmed because you think that you have to really be careful about the answer that you give, and you start analyzing as you go, and before you know, you have lost all ability to intuitively connect with your client, because connecting with the divine essence within you requires you to quiet your mind and to not analyze and allow the voice of your angels to come through, or your guides to come through. You will find amazingly that suddenly your accuracy is just there. So the first thing I do, I want to say again to Lena and Patrick, and just to let you know that, again, anyone that calls into my show, 602-666-6027, you don't need to give your real name. You can just give me a pretend name. Why? Because I read your energy. I don't read your first and last name. They make no difference, because what matters is that your energy is there. And I can read Patrick and Lena's energy on the in quick, but I also want you to know that you will get a profound reading by calling in as well. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do, just to be able to take care of Patrick and Lena immediately, and then we'll go on to numerology and how to read those numbers on top. And see, that's the number 6 on top of the lovers. So I'm going to start out with Patrick, and I'll show you how I use the cards in Patrick's reading. Patrick says, "Hey, Anne-Marie, can I have a 3-month financial reading?" You sure can. So what I'm going to do with my giant cards, which I have to do at the corners because they're far too big to try to shuffle in the normal way that I would a smaller deck, is to look at the question of Patrick's finances. And when I do this, I'm going to keep my mind, and yes, I'm yakking, but I'm also keeping my mind open towards letting the answer come through. Now I'm going to cut the cards into 3 piles as I do this, and this is what Patrick's reading comes up as. We have March, and March actually comes up the Lovers. Now, the financial reading shows the number 6, right? And when we look at what the number 6 means, we also have to understand that those numbers are going to indicate maybe when he has started to or is going to start to notice a specific change in his life financially. And looking at that, I would say, Patrick, this month is the month where you need to understand that on the 6th day of the week, which is Thursday, you're going to start noticing that there is a change financially. And whether that is because those checks are coming out from the government, or whether they are going to be because 6 is something that means specifically for you, and I'm looking at that. And so 6 is the number of supportive. It means you need a shoulder to lean on. The number 6 will be the first to arrive, equipped with a kind, soft presence and heartfelt advice. It just asks you to listen, to be cautious, and to understand. 6 is the month of compassion and healing. And so, as I said, Thursday is the 6th day of the week. I'm going to say that perhaps on Thursday you'll start to see some money start to come in for March. We now go to the next card. March is seen, and then April. April, that's the card of death. Now, death does not mean death in the physical sense. Death means leaving an old chapter behind you. And if we were to look at the number that's on there, we have 13. And the way that you add numerology, you add 1 and 3, which is the number 4. And if we look at what does 4 mean in numerology, it says this is the number that urges you to be able to give your stability to all that's around you, to the people and your career. It's dedicated to advancement. So you're not only leaving that old COVID chapter of financial tightness, but you're advancing. And it says, don't forget to be conservative with your money, but it's also saying things are progressing for you in a very positive way. That is April. And now we're looking at May. And Patrick, when we look at May, we have the number 2. And May is seen as the high priestess. So when we look at the number 2, Patrick, and 2 in numerology, it just means that you are going to have a profound influence over everything. It's about um, being able to start to look around yourself. Notice that symbols are everywhere. It's helping you to understand that what you're looking at is not only more grace and more power and more financial stability, but guess what happens when those things happen? Relationships get better. So 2 is an awesome number for you. I'm going to say it's kind of like a progression. We had first the lovers, showing that on Thursday of this week, there may be some money coming in for you. That on in April, it was April was seen as the death card, which means leaving financial chapters of stress behind you, and that going into stability and going into financial comfort and watching your relationships start to be able to get better with the people as you relax and you begin to find yourself more in balance. All right. So that's what I see for you, Patrick, for your reading for that. Um, and if we look at Lena in Tennessee, she says, can I have a general reading? You certainly can, Lena. Again, I'm using my giant love deck today. For anyone that wants to call into the show or to have a reading, remember that you can inquick your question and I will be here to give you that reading that you want. All right, so looking at Lena and looking at her general reading. Okay, Lena, the first thing, and please know, this sounds like a nasty card, and it kind of looks scary, but it's the devil. Now, what does the devil mean in tarot? It means, have you been obsessing about something? Or have you been finding that you can't let someone go in your life? Oftentimes, when you get the devil, it means that obsession, maybe finding yourself lost in negative thoughts, finding that you can't let go of someone. That seems to be going on in your life right now. Now, crossing that, this is the card of the moon. Now, the moon can stand for too much drama, Lena, but it was upside down, which is great because when you have an upside down moon, that means the opposite, less drama. Especially it says, and I have the number 16, which indicates that you are entering on the 16th day of perhaps April, finding that there's less drama in your life and more calm and more of a spiritual connection with yourself. What is it you don't want? Well, Lena, it's kind of have a love-hate relationship with having to be in charge of your own life. And why do I say that? Because this is the Empress, but she was upside down, which indicates that you may be feeling that you want to be able to see change in your life, but the problem is you love what you hate and you hate what you love, Lena. You're having a hard time maybe letting go of something that you've obsessed about. Maybe it's that feeling of negativity that's making you feel like you kind of beat yourself up. And so it says at the same time that you're looking for things to get better, you have a whole lot of doubts that they will. That isn't to say that they won't happen for the better, Lena. It's saying let go of your analytical negativity. Now, when I look at the past, this is a great card. This is Temperance. And temperance is an angel in your past that says you have an ability to kind of go with the flow, be flexible, but you were able to do that more so in the past. When I look at the future, it shows the Fool, okay? And the Fool is just a new beginning in your life, a sense that you're ready to watch. It says maybe let yourself feel naive and young, and new beginnings are wonderful, but that was upside down. So that says that you've learned some lessons from going with the flow in the past. You've learned to be more cautious. Well, Lena, your life is like the wheel of fortune. It just goes around and around, and it doesn't stop in one direction. So the wheel of fortune is in the future. It says that your life is going to not be stagnant. You're going to have change, and that change is good. I see 2021 as a good year for you. But you have to stop raining on your own parade. You have to stop getting negative on yourself. This is the magician. The magician says that you have a tendency to talk a good talk, but not walk the walk. It's upside down, which says that something that you don't want is to believe that your dreams can come true. And why would you do that? Well, because you've become very cautious. The future shows the sun. And the sun means that you're basically a very cheerful, loving, caring person, Lena. But it's reversed, which says that, again, stop raining on your own parade. Make sure that when you walk into the future, stop obsessing, let go of something that you can't have, stop wanting what you can't have, and be appreciative of the things you can have. The one thing it also shows is that the high priestess is what you want. So I think that your mind is in a good place. I know that you want the best for yourself. You want dreams, especially the dreams that you've been dwelling on, whether obsessively or that you find yourself at that funny place in your life where you kind of want what you want, but you're afraid to take action on your dreams. The high priestess says, Lena, you're made to have happiness in 2021. Let it happen. And lastly, it says, I'm not sure whether justice indicates that you've been involved in a legal situation or if there are legalities in your life that you find yourself either with an maybe it's some kind of judgment that you're dealing with, maybe it's a past legal situation. I see a good outcome for you. So I think that you're going to find A, that you allow yourself to be cautious, but B, you're not going to go negative on yourself. You're not going to beat yourself up. C, that when you open up and start thinking more positive, like attracts like, and you start noticing things stepping into the picture, Lena, that makes you be able to have what you want. I think that it's time for you, Lena, to be able to access into your better side, into let your dreams happen. It's okay to be cautious, and if there is a legal aspect of your life, if there are legalities going on, I see a good outcome for you. And that's what I see, Lena. So without your voice, I'm sorry, I cannot be able to go further. Again, this is why it helps if you call and just maybe let me look at your questions as you go and what comes up. All right. So we're going to look today again at timing. Now, for this, I'm going to use my regular. This is what the deck is that you're going to be using. Um, there's a lot of decks that have suits in them. The traditional deck has wands, swords, cups, and pentacles. Wands represent days. So let's say that you're giving a reading for somebody. I'll just do kind of a 3-card reading. Let's say um, you're reading for someone and they want to know, am I going to take a trip within the next 6 months? Now, when you're doing a 3-card reading, which is so simple, all the right side up cards are yes. The cards that are upside down are no. So if I look at your reading, whoever you are, and it's the first thing that comes up is, yes, this is the card of dreaming, but this is upside down, which says a plan turned into reality. What is the number on it? 7. You wanted to know, first of all, cups represent months. So this would indicate within 7 months, which would place it sometime in summer. If we look at what is the 7th month of the year, that would be July. And so that says that this is the month for you to plan on a vacation. Not only that, but it says start to buy those plane tickets. I have the world with the number 21 on top of it. Now, 21 is, if we look at 21 weeks, that would be 5 months. So make sure that you're starting to get your ducks in line for a vacation within 5 months, which would make it, we're looking at March, April, May, June. Excuse me. Okay, yeah. So 5 months would be have all your ducks in line, and we're looking at approximately the same time frame. And it says within 2 months, be sure to have your plane ticket or your itinerary or your plans made. So I would say, George, yes, I see that you will take a vacation. Make sure that within 2 months, you have your plane ticket or you have your hotel plans or have talked to your family or paid for your cruise or whatever and line that up. The best time for you, George, to leave is seen in July. So within 2 months, think about having a July cruise or a July trip to see friends or family. It also says that if you are thinking about traveling in the future, it also shows the number of 5 months, which would be to get March, April, May, June, July. So there it is again. July comes up with the number 21. So maybe we want to say, George, in 2 months, it looks like you need to have your plane ticket or your itinerary or your cruise lined up. And it looks to be that in July, which is the 7th month of the year, you need to think about that being the month that you take your vacation. And as a matter of fact, I have the number 21. So George, why don't you think about July 21st, getting a trip that around that time frame that would be congruent with your plans. And that would be how you use time frames. Okay? So that is one way to look at it. Now, there are people that, one thing that you'll notice in all of tarot, depending what book you read or what time of the history you read on. When I was learning how to do cards, wands came first, cups came second, swords came third, and pentacles were fourth. So for me, when I do time frames, I look at the numbers, always the numbers, the suit, meaning that wands represent days, cups represent weeks, swords equal months, and also pentacles represent any time up to a year. So it's important. So now you know a few techniques for interpreting your tarot cards to determine the timing of an event and how to incorporate this into your readings. There are a couple of options. Firstly, you can simply include a part of your overall reading, a card to focus on when. For example, as part of a potential relationship reading, you may include one card on when the client may find the right partner. Now remember, if you give love readings, everybody's going to say, when am I going to find love? And you need to know that you, first of all, let them know. Time frames are approximate. You can also let them know you are not a fairy godmother. Nobody's going to knock on your door and say, hey, relationship. It doesn't work that way. But now that everybody's getting their vaccines and COVID is getting out of the way, we can start to get out there and join groups, go to spiritual events, perhaps on a cruise, or go to Egypt with a group of spiritually like-minded people. Whatever it is, get out there and meet people again. I know that many people do the computer dating thing. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. So now we're going to go and see how, for instance, we would give a love reading to somebody. And for that, I'm going to use my love deck. And my love deck is this is all major arcanas. Major arcana are not in the months or the suits. They are numbers. So I'm looking at, let's say, Lila wants to know, she has met somebody and she wants to know how they feel about her and when she can expect things to escalate the next level. So in looking at that, I would look at her cards and I would say, Lila, when I look at how this person feels about you, I'm shown the moon. Now the moon can represent somebody that's had a really hard relationship history. So they're kind of scared. And they're also very sexually attracted to you. Lila, one of the things that this guy is into is the Hierophant stands for traditional relationships. So it's too soon, Lila, for this guy to think about whether he wants to have a long-term relationship. So at this point, though he's attracted to you, though he wants to get to know you, it also shows the number 5, which means, Lila, that perhaps within the number 5, he will reach out to you and ask you for a date. Monday, Lila, that would make a weekend date. Now, what is it that really comes out cool about this guy, Lila, that you're meeting? And I have 13, okay? I have the death card. Now, as I told you before, death means death of an old way of living and a new way of living or starting things in the future. So I'm going to say, Lila, this guy's very scared. He's had a rough time with a relationship. As we saw with the moon, he kind of sees relationships the same as drama. But Lila, understand that this is the Hierophant. It means that he is not ready yet to make a stand on what he wants. You haven't really even had your first date yet. But guess what, Lila? This guy looks like he could be awesome for you because he is finding that you will be life-changing and he will be life-changing for you, and you're both leaving your dramas in the past. When does it seem like it could happen? I'm going to say within 13 days to 13 weeks. That's the number up there. This looks like it could really have a happy conclusion for you. Now, you can get as detailed with the tarot cards as you want. Now, when we look at spring, summer, fall, or winter, wands represent Aries. Cups represent Cancer. Okay, wands represent spring. Summer is represented by cups. Fall is represented by swords. They represent Libra. And when you look at what does Pentacles stand for, that's winter. And so that's Capricorn. So again, spring is represented by the wands. So when you give a reading and you're seeing a lot of wands, that could indicate that good things are going to start to happen in spring. Summer, because that represents the cups. And I read wands, cups, swords, pentacles. So wands are spring, cups are summer, swords are fall, pentacles are winter. And most of all, there are even energies around the suits of the cards. For instance, cups can represent rain because, of course, it's spring. Wands represent healing. Pentacles, they can represent harvest, fruit, and swords would be the reaping the harvest, okay? So we have wands represent a healing coming into your life. Cups represent rain. So that's kind of fertility. Pentacles stand for swords represent the harvest because they come before pentacles, and then the pentacles represent your final, you're bringing in the harvest, right? Gathering and harvest. So all of these cards, the 4 seasons represent seasons, numbers, time of day or time of the week or months coming. So in a sense, when we give a reading for people, you're doing just as much channeling by not only looking at the story that you're seeing on somebody, but by giving them the energy, the months, the times that things are going to get better for them, and finances and energy are all part of that. So that's kind of how that works. So I'm going to go to just looking at some meditation for looking at. I have Lana always is such a beautiful meditation. And Lana is going to be with us next week to speak on Hawaiian spirituality. And Hawaiian spirituality is the combination of it's the combination of quantum as well as shamanism. And so it's kind of a mystical religion or mystical spirituality. So Lana will be giving us a hypnotherapy, and she will also be giving us her interpretation of that. So we're going to do 10 Powers of Choice by Lana.
You can change the way you see things, the way you experience things, and the way you do things. Own your mana iho, your self-power, your powers of choice, the power of responsibility. I choose my thoughts, my feelings, my words, and my actions. I am the master of my inner world. Everything I desire, all the love, happiness, peace, and abundance is within me. And I choose thoughts and feelings of love, happiness, peace, and abundance, whatever the circumstances. I have the power to make a conscious choice in every moment. The power of clarity. I choose to enter my mind with the light of awareness. I choose to live my life in the truth of now. I am at peace with myself and at peace with the world. The power of relaxation. I choose to soften the contours of my consciousness and simply be here now. I relax my breath. I relax my body. I relax my mind. I allow life to flow through me like a river. I choose to let go and let God in this perfect moment. I am one with myself and at one with what is. The power of presence. I choose to rest deeply in the power of this present moment. I choose in this moment to awaken and to know myself as I really am. I choose in this moment to know myself as a divine creation of infinite potential. And in this moment, I am whole and I am holy. In this moment, I simply am. The power of love. I choose to say yes to life, and I open wide to welcome everything. I see through the eyes of my heart, and I see perfection in everything. I am a lover of life, and my love blesses the world with its holiness. The power of gratitude. Gratitude is a conscious choice I make in every moment. I choose to see everything as a gift from the divine. I am available for all that is good in my life. I am available for all that is God in my life. The power of forgiveness. I choose to know that all forms are born from divine mind. I choose to see the light of God in everyone and in everything. I am whole, and I am holy. I see the world through the eyes of holiness. The power of trust. I choose to live in the wonder of now. I choose to experience every moment as an adventure, to be met with eyes wide open and belly soft. I am at one with God, because God is with me wherever I go. The power of service. I choose to serve God by making myself available for the download of my divine mission. I am here to shine the light of my magnificence on everything I say and do. I am here to know the truth of my infinite potential. I am here to remember my divinity and to manifest my destiny. And finally, the power of action. I choose to remember that I am a spiritual being of infinite magnitude. I choose to inhabit my eternal radiant nature. I am the light of God. I am the light of the world. You are loved. You are blessed. And so it is. Aloha ke akua.
And that's Victoria Lanakila, and she will be with us next week when we are discussing Hawaiian spirituality. You know, one of the things that always happens when I am reading for very spiritual people is that sometimes they can make me have to think and make me have to go to my next plateau of spirituality. And when that happens, I know that there's a time in everyone's life that is a psychic or that is a minister or that works with people. Because anytime that you're an advisor or a hypnotherapist, you are basically a teacher. So one thing we have no business being in this field if we stop learning from our mistakes and from the people that come in our lives. And I know that when I can't sleep at night, that I'm wrestling with my conscious and my angels and guides and God to try to understand something. And one of the things that one of my clients asked me after I had given her a reading on her life was she wanted to know how she could find her divine self. And I told her, because I will be honest with you, I really thought of the word divine, and there are certain words that happen with many readers that are very self-help bookish. And there's nothing wrong with self-help books, but they're here to be able to make us feel good when we feel bad, right? And there begins to be a fad thinking where certain words are used over and over, manifesting, divinity, things like that. So I went and I said, okay, how can I be a reader for people if I don't even have a definition for divine self? So she got very frustrated with me, and I told her less is more. And I do feel that sometimes when we start over analyzing and we start being with people and we start asking too many questions and we start asking them how they feel and if they're happy, that we get to be a pain in the butt to be around. And we get too complex. And people get to feel like we're too hard to be with because we're searching for answers in the tiniest of things. So, as often happens, I have to do some research, and this is what I found. What is divine? Searching for the divine within us. That there are 7 truths about divine essence. Number 1, no one person is better than another. Nobody is more unique and special than you are. Number 2, true happiness can only come from within yourself. Not money, love, marriage, career, shopping, or children can make you truly happy if you aren't satisfied within yourself, because there are people that live on nothing, that know how to laugh and be happy. There will always be another excuse and need if you can't find happiness within yourself. Number 3, everything happens for a reason. You are not a victim. Life is a school. You learn your entire life. So you will be given lessons, good and bad, every day, and trust that the universe is directing you to a lesson, to a better life, by trying to make your way through that problem and listening to your gut within, okay? So if we look at number 4, the spirit realm is as real as the material world. How do we know? Because we come from the spiritual world, and when we leave this earth, we go back to the spiritual world. We only stay a short time on the earth, right? It's almost like something that's here to give us a karmic lesson, to learn something, and then we go to our next stage. So the spiritual realm is more real than the material world, because the material world is just this short time on earth we get. You create your reality. That's number 5. The spark of divinity within us is given the power on earth to create our reality. Earth is like a playground, and the choices we make every day to pursue our greatest excitement, procrastinate, or leave destructive influences like a bad relationship. It's up to us. Goodbye. See you next week with Lana Kila.